Alright, we back again with that video for the Italian seasoned chicken and homemade tomato sauce. Okay, right now I'm going to share with you the ingredients that I will be using to make this Italian seasoned chicken breast and homemade tomato sauce. Okay, first things first, the main ingredient that I love for the protein is chicken breast. These have been thawing out for roughly 2 hours. They were frozen solid, and then I put them into the saucepan and let them come to room temperature and thaw out. Secondly, we have green beans. These are fresh green beans, and I purchased them at the market. And we have 1 whole white onion, 6 plump red tomatoes, again from the farm, fresh from the market. And we have these seasonings here. We have some, you can see, we have some garlic granules, or garlic powder works too. We have some Italian seasoning, okay, and we have some garlic seasoning and herbs and salt. I love this extra virgin olive oil. Additionally, we have in these containers some black pepper, and we have some salt. Okay, so I am going to talk to you step by step as to what I am doing to get this so that I can enjoy it. And if I enjoy this, I hope you will enjoy yours once you have prepared it. So the first thing I am going to start cooking will be the chicken breast. Okay, so all I'm going to do is turn on my heat, get that fire going very well, and kind of forget about it. Okay, I'm not doing anything to it right now. I just want to put the lid on it, and I'm going to wait until that chicken boils. And then as it boils, then I'm going to start adding more ingredients. While that chicken is doing its thing, I'm going to go over here and clean these veggies. Okay, so stay tuned. As you see your chicken breast start to cook, be sure that you do stir it, okay? And make sure you constantly move it around, because chicken will stick to the bottom of your saucepan. So constantly stir it, okay? And additionally, right now would be the perfect time to add some olive oil. So I'm going to stir this just a little bit and make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom of the saucepan. So to stir your chicken breast a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this olive oil. Okay. Now bear with me, because I don't have the exact measurements of what I'm using here. So I'm going to guess and say that I use around 1 tablespoon of olive oil just now. Just enough. Anybody watching these videos, just use your better judgment and common sense, and just keep it in mind that you can always add a little bit and leave room to add more later. But if you add too much too soon, you can never take that too much out. Make sense? So always leave room to add more. So I just added around 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Whether you add 1 or 2, I think that depends on how much chicken you have, and it shouldn't make much of a difference. Okay? And because I have so much chicken breast here, I'm going to add just a little bit more olive oil. Just a little bit more. And then again, I'm going to stir that. What I want to do is kind of let that chicken saute on the bottom of the saucepan and come to a nice, almost grilled kind of texture. Alright? Additionally, I'm going to start adding my main ingredients, or my main seasonings I should say, for salt and pepper. I think these are like the most primitive ingredients that mankind uses. Now, I have this yellow spoon here. Say it's probably a teaspoon. So I'm putting 1 teaspoon of salt. Because this is so much chicken, I'm going to put 2 scoops of salt with this yellow spoon here. Okay. Maybe 1.5, because I do have salt coming from that garlic and herb seasoning. Okay. Bam. So that sauce in there, that's a bam. And then we have to put our next ingredient, which is the black pepper. Okay, bam, 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 bam. Again, these are like the base seasonings that I use in almost everything. I'm sorry, a meal without salt and pepper is not a meal to me. Okay, and then the actual salt and pepper would be my next ingredient, which would be garlic. I love those three ingredients the most. Okay. And because this is chicken breast, there's not a lot of fat in the meat, which will make these chicken breasts stick to your saucepan. So again, constantly move it. Okay, constantly move it, and make sure that your flame is not up too high. That's how you cook with love and passion. Okay, you have to give your food what it needs at any given moment. And right now, looking at this golden brown chicken breast, I think we are making some sweet love in this saucepan. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving that chicken breast a little bit. Set my spoon down. Want to adjust my heat here. Right now it's kind of high because I want to get it sauteed. I'm going to reduce that flame a little bit, and I'm going to move on to my next main ingredient that I love, which is this garlic, herb, and salt. It's written in Chinese, but garlic, herb, and salt. I think this is very comparable to Stacey Dash's garlic, herb, and salt. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so I'm gonna. Ooh, excuse me. I drank some coffee just now, and it's making me hiccup. I'm gonna put some garlic, herb, and salt in there. Come on, baby. Let's do this the right way today. Okay, garlic, herb, and salt. Again, we're gonna come back with our spoon. Mix this up a little bit. Make sure those seasonings are well incorporated into this protein cooking in my saucepan. Okay, we're making love in this saucepan. Okay, we're not cooking this to be cooking. We're making love in this saucepan. You gotta cook with passion and love and joy in your heart. If you cook with those three virtuous ingredients in your heart, passion, love, and joy, you will transmit that passion, love, and joy to whoever it is who eats your cooking. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to do is we are going to let that chicken does what it does in this saucepan, and while this chicken is doing what it's doing, we are going to turn our attention over to our next ingredients. There's tomatoes, green beans, and onions, and then we are going to get those ready to go in next. So I'm going to pause the video here and get those veggies ready. Okay, I'm back, and I'm about to continue with making this chicken. Let me tell you what I've done in the meanwhile. I cut up some onion and I added it to that meat, or that chicken I should say, not meat, and I stirred that chicken just a little bit, as I do not want my chicken to stick to the bottom of the saucepan, because that will burn and it will taste awful. So I'm just cooking with my love and my passion, making sure I give the chicken what it needs at this moment in its life, if it has life. So moving on. So bam, I just finished stirring that chicken again, and I added some onions. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange these green beans just like this on my cutting board, and I am going to get ready to chop the ends off of them. I find that the ends are very, very hard, and they are not enjoyable at all to eat. So again, I'm giving my green beans what they need at the moment, and that is to be put in place. Ta-da! And then I'm going to cut the other ends off of these ones right here. Ta-da! Just like so. Let me show you how I cut these green beans, all right? To prep things in large quantities at a time. So I took all those green beans and I chopped them in half. So that's like sped up this process significantly, okay? So now I'm going to put those into my rinsing bowl over here. All right. In a second, I'm going to rinse those under some tap water, and then I'm going to add those to this chicken over here, all right? Because I do want these green beans to get some heat to them, because green beans are kind of hard, okay? Now, I don't want them to be extremely mushy when I eat them, but then again, I do not want them to be raw and hard, because that's not enjoyable for me. So if that's not enjoyable for me, possibly it would not be enjoyable for you. Okay. All right. The next step in making this homemade Italian seasoned chicken and homemade tomato sauce is to make the tomato sauce. So I have these things. I have my cheese grater, I have my trusty knife, and I have my tomatoes. Now what I'm going to do is slice all my tomatoes in half, and I'm going to use my knife and I'm going to extract the seeds from inside of these tomatoes. These seeds will make the tomato sauce taste very, very bitter in flavor, and that's not good. Okay, so I'm going to extract all of the seeds with my knife, and I'm going to discard these tomato seeds into a different container, and later dispense of these seeds somewhere outside or in the trash or down the toilet or somewhere where I can get them out of my home, because I will never return to use these tomato seeds. Okay, now if you can see, that one's very, very, very clean. After I have the tomatoes clean, I use my cheese grater and I just give them a nice gentle squeezing type push on the grater, and that way I will grate all of the tomato pulp, if you want to call it that, the meat from the tomato, into a container I have down there, and I will collect all of that pulp, okay, all of that meat, because I will use that later for the tomato sauce. Okay, now this is only one tomato, but I have 7 more. Okay, and so that is my next step. And yeah, so I'm going to pause the video here, and I will resume later once I add the tomato sauce to the chicken. I hope you're enjoying this video so far. Remember, when you cook, you have to cook with love, joy, and passion. That way you will be able to share that love, joy, and passion with all the people who eat your food. Talk to you later. Okay, we're back, and we are approaching the final step of making this homemade Italian chicken with homemade tomato sauce dish. And if you look in this glass bowl here, I have all of my tomatoes finally in quotation marks, grated by the cheese grater. The next thing to do is to add these tomato sauce to our chicken and green beans and onions, and do like that. And what I want to do before I turn the heat on is kind of incorporate it throughout this meat and the veggies first. That way all of the chicken can get some of that love from the tomatoes. Okay. Now, judging by the consistency and thickness of this sauce, I wish I would have prepared more tomatoes. However, that should be enough, because I will add some water afterwards. Alright, so that's that. Now what I'm going to do is turn on my heat. Okay, I want to start it on low at first, because I do not want to burn anything. Alright, there we go. That's as low as it can get. And I'm going to continue stirring this chicken and tomato sauce. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is just stir that for maybe 2 minutes at the most. And then I'm going to put the lid on it and let it sit there and do what it does. Okay, what I'm looking for is to see how much water are in these tomatoes naturally. Okay, and if I feel like I need to add more water, I have my water right here. And I will add that later. Okay, and before I add any more water, I am going to pay attention to the thickness of this tomato sauce, because I'm really believing that I should add more tomatoes, which is not a problem at all, because I have 2 more tomatoes in the fridge that's sitting there waiting to be invited to the party. Okay, now at this step, when I'm cooking, I always like to taste what it is that I'm preparing. And I'm pretty confident that that chicken is fully cooked and it's not going to, give me any foodborne illnesses such as salmonella. Okay, because like I said, I do believe this chicken is fully cooked because it's been cooking on a pretty high heat for well over 1 hour, and that is enough time to kill salmonella if salmonella was present in this chicken, which I highly doubt that it was. This was fresh chicken from the market, and I had washed it very well, thoroughly, before I had stored it into my freezer. Okay, now because we do have a little bit of sauce going on here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit to my spoon, just a little bit, and see what it's like. Dang, that's good. Right there by itself. That is delicious. All right, but there is one season that I want to add, and that is my Italian season. And I add that one in. So this is the first time the Italian seasoning is coming to the party. So welcome, Italian. And this is your signature dish. Italian chicken. Come on, Italian. Let's spice this up. Cause that's amore, signores. When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When the world seems to shine like you've had too much wine. Get drunk. Okay, so let's stop that one there. Bam. And we're going to add that up a little bit, or mix that up just a little bit. And then I'm going to return to taste it and see what's the flavors like now. I don't believe that I need to add salt. However, if I need to add salt, then I'll do that. Okay, so again, when you're cooking, you have to use some love, passion, and joy, because whatever you put into the food will be transmitted into those who eat it, including yourself. Don't forget that. This is not something that you just grabbed off of a shelf inside of a supermarket, and threw it in a microwave to prepare it. No, this is something that you prepared by yourself from home ingredients. Nothing processed here, okay? It has to be all raw, whole, real materials. This promotes better health, physically and mentally, okay? Because you are avoiding all of those additives, all of those preservatives, and all those chemicals that are foreign to your body, that your body was not intended to consume. So, cook homemade dishes, and your body will appreciate it, and it will give you results because of it. Let's try this again. Man, that is on point. On point. That is amazing. Okay. But there is one thing I do want to add, and that's because this is my preferred taste. Salt. I like salt. However, I am trying to be mindful of how much salt I do consume per day, because I do have multiple sclerosis. So that means that I have to make sure that my body's immune system is not aggravated. And just thinking about it, I do believe that salt could be an aggravating factor in my multiple sclerosis. So because I'm in the kitchen and I'm preparing this food, I'm going to do my best to avoid as much salt as possible. But in this case, I think a little bit more is necessary. It's not too much, right? Not too much. Just enough to give that desired flavor that I am looking for. You see, and look at all of that tomato sauce, man. I'm not going to do any more tomatoes because those tomatoes had natural water in them and they just released it. and cooking. So, yeah. So that is it. I am like 90% finished with this dish here, right? What I'm going to do is continue monitoring how this sauce is thickening, and if necessary, I will add more water. But right now, I'm satisfied. No more tomatoes. Okay, so that's that. And I hope you've been enjoying this video thus far. If so, hit the like button and leave a comment and subscribe. Do all of that good stuff. And this is the first video of my cooking with me series. There will be more to come, but this is the first one because this one was asked for by me, by a friend, named Jen. Shout out, Jen. You know who you are. And yeah, and that's that. So, Jen, I'm hoping you're enjoying this. And this is delicious. And if you make this, please leave a comment in this video, okay? And let me know how you like this recipe. Because this is amazing. This is one of my favorite things to prepare. It's just a little time consuming, especially when you have to grate the tomatoes. Homemade tomato sauce is so much better than tomato sauce that you buy in a can. Ragu and Prego ain't got shit on me. Out. Alright, well, I just finished cooking this Italian chicken and homemade tomato sauce dish. And the only thing left to do is to try just a little bit of the sauce before I go running. Okay, let's see what it's hitting for. I just got the low power message, so sorry for the delay in speaking. So here we go. Damn, son, this shit is good. Masarap. Que rico. Delicious. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. And if you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe. And do, at home, try to make this same dish yourself. And let me know how it turned out for you. Because for me, it came out perfectly splendid. Toodaloo. Goodbye.